Hi, folks. Welcome to another episode of Film Study. It's time for this week's matchups episode, looking ahead to the Steelers game on Sunday. And joining me is my co-host, Frazier Tafar. Frazier, how you doing?
Doing good, Ken. A little under the weather, just like you, but hoping to get through this podcast.
Yeah, well, let's make sure we do this. This is unrelenting. What seems to be going on here? So, uh, it, in a lot of ways, this doesn't seem like the ideal time to meet the Pittsburgh Steelers when tackles are both still looking questionable on both sides of the offensive line, and them having the two outside rushers they have. But let's start with the Ravens offense. What do they need to do in this game? What are the key matchups for them?
Personally, I think the matchup I'm looking for on offense is, can Lamar get over the quote unquote Pittsburgh hump? I think out of all the teams in the NFL, Pittsburgh has given him the most issues throwing the ball and not being able to run the ball at will. Uh, I remember, I think 2020, they had a really good rushing game, but overall, Lamar has not had a serious impact on the games against Pittsburgh. So I'm looking for him to kind of break out against the last divisional opponent that we have that he hasn't.
Okay, fair enough. I did want to kind of look at his game logs as you were saying this, just see what he's done. And in his first year, he didn't play Pittsburgh the second time and lost to them the first time, 26-14. That was the last game they lost that year before the playoffs. And in the second game, I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. That's in 2019. In 2020, he lost them 24-18 in the first game, and then lost to them again 19-14. Or he had COVID. Okay,
Yeah.
he missed that game, but he lost that home game against them 28-24. That was a big comeback by Roethlisberger, throwing a lot of outside short passes. And then lost to them 20-19 in one of the meetings in 2021. And then in
I think
20,
that was the away game where he drove them down the field and hit Sammy Watkins in the back end zone, but we couldn't come up with a 2-point conversion to mark. I think that was that game.
it was 37-20. I'm sorry, wrong score there. What was the score there? Not yet, 2019, right? Yeah, that sounds right. So we went for two in 2021. Sounds right. Okay. And then in well, he didn't play in either of the 2022 games. So he must have beaten them in 2018, right? Because otherwise he wouldn't even have a win. Well, no.
I know that was the game Joe got hurt. He hurt his back, but I think we already played Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh earlier in the year. So
And
no,
won
he
that
didn't face
game.
them in 18. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is interesting. I thought for sure he had a win against each of the teams already in the AFC, but I was unaware of this. Wow. Okay. Well, definitely something that he'll need to get by. But he's certainly missed a lot of games against the Steelers over the years. He's not going to miss this one, and that's the key difference. The Ravens obviously have a lot of other players hurt, a lot of other important players hurt. The Steelers playing with a backup rookie offensive left tackle, and they have Okorafor on the right side, but their tackles are certainly a group that can be taken advantage of. And the Ravens don't have their primary edge rusher in Owe or even Ajabo as well. So obviously they're hurt and not in the kind of position they'd like to be. Tyus Bowser. Pass rush in this game and pass rush for this season for the Ravens hasn't really suffered from being without their primary rusher. They've gotten a lot of pressure out of Clowney that has led to sacks by others. They've gotten a lot of pressure off the edge, and they've got a lot of pressure that's been schemed up and multi-part, meaning somebody has gotten the first pressure and then somebody else has cleaned up the sack. So that has seemed to be the Ravens' way this year. And obviously, to do that, your secondary and your linebackers have to be playing pretty solid, integrated ball offline, and that is exactly what has been the hallmark of the 2023 Ravens. So hopefully, that's a way to get back at the Steelers in this one. If I'm looking at a matchup on the defensive side, that's what I'm calling for. What do you think is the key for Lamar to play better in this game?
I think continuing to trust his eyes, not second guess his read. I think he's very intelligent. He just needs to trust what he has. Um, it's going to be tough for him to be able to feel confident in the pocket since we don't have our two starting left tackle or left tackle and right tackle. So that's something I notice about Lamar is when he's not confident in his pocket, he diminishes his footwork. He's jumping, he's not really getting set, and it's forcing him to go outside of the pocket to feel comfortable to throw the ball. So I'm looking for him to try and gain some confidence in the pocket and be able to deliver those strikes over the middle or on the outside.
All right. I'm certainly going to give him the benefit of the doubt after this game he just had against Cleveland because obviously the tackle versus edge situation was about as dire as you can have it with Fa'alele in there playing a lot of snaps and McCary in there to start the game against Myles Garrett. Both of them were terrible in the game in terms of being able to protect him, and he still had one of his best ever games. So I'm hoping they can scheme up something to keep the edge rushers blocked and find Lamar a little bit of time. Or one thing that always seems to be a key in these situations is making Lamar himself a significant threat in terms of getting him out and on the run fairly quickly and fairly often, so those edge rushers have to stop and make decisions.
Yep. I think we might see a Cincinnati-esque type game plan, just trying to maintain the ground game and then taking your shots when you want to. I think Lamar is capable of making any throw on the field, so it's not about trying to set up for him, but just making it easier for him to have success when throwing the ball downfield.
All right. All right. Very good. Well, let's move on.
With the busy fall season already in swing, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you with fast, chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. If you're too busy this fall to cook but want to make sure you're eating well, then get Factor. This is what I did. We were moving, packed up all my dishes, everything needed better meals. I signed up for Factor. It's best meals, probably the healthiest I've eaten in a month thanks to these Factor meals. Because with Factor, you can skip those extra trips to the grocery store and the chopping, the prepping, the cleanup, all while still getting flavor and the nutritional quality you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat, enjoy, and then get back to crushing your goals, which for me was trying to move. But now I can't. I need them for work at lunch every day. They're perfect. So this September, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door. Ready in just 2 minutes. No prep, no mess. So head to factormeals.com/Ravens50 and use that code Ravens50 like I did to get 50% off. That's Ravens50 at factormeals.com/Ravens50 to get 50% off your Factor meals.
Over to the defensive side of the ball and what the Ravens need to do. What would be your #1 matchup there?
I think the #1 matchup I'm looking for is our cornerbacks going against the Steelers wide receivers, mainly George Pickens. I'm going to be curious who's going to follow him around the formation. I don't expect Humphrey to be back for this game. I don't think so. I think they want to play it safe with him. They might give him one more week and then take him to London, and then we'll have a bye after that, so he'll be well rested. Same thing with Ronnie. But if we can force Pickett to stop looking Pickens' way and try and beat us throwing to Robinson or Calvin Austin or a tight end group without Freiermuth, I think that will bode success for us in winning the game, because if the Ravens get out to an early lead or are showing momentum early, that could get the Steelers out of their game plan to run the ball and do all the play action off of that. So if we're able to get up early and force them to throw outside of Pickens, I think that's a recipe for success.
All right. Well, Pickens is their guy this week. There's no Deontay Johnson. Yeah,
Yep.
as you mentioned, there's no Pat Freiermuth. So they have a fairly depleted core. Pickett is hurt, so he may play or not. But if he decides to go, hopefully it'll be less than a 100% Pickett out there. And what has been so impressive about the Ravens through 4 games is their ability to play incredibly integrated defense. I mean, they have a cover two zone that is working as well as anything you'll ever see. Now, that doesn't always, by the way, cover two doesn't always mean they're going to quarters directly out of that, but it's a that's how they line up. They could match up on each side. They could do different things from it. But by having two safeties deep, they've really created a situation where they are not allowing much in terms of throws deep against those two safeties who have been dangerous in terms of what they've done, particularly Geno Stone. I think this is a week where we're going to see that an attempt to continue that, and one of the keys will be Hamilton, I believe, moving back up to nickel while Marcus Williams takes over another back end spot again. Honestly, the injury to Worley was pretty significant in terms of losing a player who obviously the Ravens were comfortable continuing to play this cover two scheme with and getting getting Kyle up front. But I think having him up against the Steelers is exceptionally important in terms of getting some additional pressure out of him, but also being better at stopping the run with a smaller box. So you can do that you can play Hamilton up front in the slot as the nickel versus both 11 and 12 personnel. So if they get a little heavier, they bring in a tight end. That's okay. Hamilton gives you that bigger body that you don't have to abandon the nickel and go to your base defense with 3 down linemen to try and defend the run. And I think the Ravens will continue to try and dare opponents for as long as it'll work to run the ball against a smaller box and basically or pass the ball against cover two. And hopefully neither of those options will continue to be good as they move forward. So I think that integrated defense for me is the most important component that can hold up. I think the key to that is Kyle Hamilton moving to slot.
Yeah, and the only concern I would have for Kyle in slot is if he's going against someone like Calvin Austin, who's very quick, twitchy. That would probably cause him issue. But other than that, I feel confident with Kyle down low in the slot. He just brings a different sense of physicality. He's an aircraft carrier, so I mean, yeah, it's good to have that down.
It's good to hear that term being thrown around a little bit. Hamilton obviously gives you limitations in the slot, like bigger slots do. There's things you can't do. There's a whole lot of things that quarterbacks are not used to him being able to do from that spot, including rush the quarterback, play the run, be an outstanding downhill tackle. The Ravens play the ball in front of them a lot, and they come downhill to make tackles. Zone defense allows people to rally to the ball in ways that are much more common and general than they are in man defenses, because you got everybody looking at the quarterback, everybody looking at the receiver as soon as they get that football, and we're kind of figuring out their path to the ball from there. And so you don't have as many breakdowns in tackling and in coverage for big yak amounts.
Yeah, and I think one way that our DBs can gain success is if we continue to get pressure from Clowney and continuing to see pressure from Van Noy too. He had a really good game last week. So if those two can be the duo we hoped Odafe and Ojabo could be, I think that would serve well.
Yeah, that would be terrific. And, the Steelers haven't been that good on the interior line. So, Mike, this could be a big game for Michael Pierce to push
Travis
people
Jones
around.
as well.
Travis when he's in there. Be a nice game if you really want to get heavy and beat up a team that's not that physical and really dare them to run. Put those two in at the same time. See what Travis Jones can do as a 3-tech in this game.
Yeah. Save
Matabike for a few extra snaps of pass rushing. Mm-hmm. Keep him off the field a little more and rested, and we'll see how that goes. Well, good matchups. Tell folks where they can talk football with you online.
You guys can find me on Twitter/X at F_RAVE8. That's F_Rave8.
All right. Outstanding. Great doing the show with you again, Frazier. Other folks out there, if you'd like to be on a film study short, hit me up on Twitter with a DM. They're always open, and I'll get back to you very quickly if you have a show idea you'd like to do. For Frazier Tafar, this is Ken McCusick saying goodbye, and we'll talk to you next week on Matchups.